Grazie a te, Preside. Devo presentare l'architetto Thomas Melin, che ora prenderà la parola. Svedese, ha lavorato nella cooperazione allo sviluppo per tutta la sua carriera e sempre si è impegnato sui temi urbani. A diversi livelli di organizzazione e di amministrazione, in ONG con le autorità locali e consulente del governo per l'Agenzia svedese di cooperazione internazionale. Ha abitato in Etiopia, in Sudafrica, nello Yemen e ora vive a Nairobi. E ha avuto sempre un particolare impegno sulle fasce povere e sui bambini. E il promotore in United Nations Habitat del lavoro sugli spazi pubblici attraverso il network sullo sviluppo urbano sostenibile. La parola a Thomas Melin. Grazie.
Only a century ago, 2 out of 10 people in the world lived in urban areas. And in the least developed countries, that was sometimes as low as 5%. Let me put myself to the side so I don't get light. But since then, the world has been rapidly urbanizing. And now, a century later, we are celebrating the advent of an urban millennium, with more than half of humanity living in urban areas. And that is half of 7 billion people. Previously, it was 20% of only 1 billion. Now, as you know here very well in Rome, urbanization is not something new. Urbanization has always been there. Suddenly now we talk about it, but that's only because the speed is different. Urbanization is not only a transitional process where people and population change from rural to urban livelihood. It's actually a transformation process in which the urban population, now they think, they act, they work, they dream in another way. It's an urban mindset that we are creating. Urban dwellers are more complex, more diverse, more open, but also more demanding. Now, the good thing about urbanization is that there is a correlation between urbanization and economic development. Urban economy has proven to be more efficient, larger, due to factors like proximity, production, increased specialization, market sizes, and so forth. So we can shift away from viewing urbanization mainly as a problem, that has been done in very many countries, and look on urbanization as something very powerful, a tool for development of the whole world. The city is a human construct. We made it. And the growth and development of cities is not as spontaneous and uncontrollable as some people tend to say. It's not a fate how cities become. If it becomes a good city or a not so good city, it's depending on what you do, which decisions you take, how you plan it. And the more we look upon cities as something which is shaped, the more we recognize that this is really a very positive potential. Now, we recognize the need to improve quality. Wherever we are on a level, we want to improve it to go even further. Quality of human settlements, because they affect more than half the population of the world. And there is a sense of great opportunity and hope that the world can be built in a way which is both economical, social, and environmentally sustainable at the same time. International cooperation is the base for United Nations. It's guided by the purpose and the principle of the Charter of the United Nations. UN Habitat, being one of all the members in the UN family, is also guided by a document which is called the Habitat Agenda. That was adopted at a conference called Habitat 2 in Istanbul, 1996. A document that defined what the UN as a whole, but specifically UN Habitat, should work with and focus on. Human settlements and sustainable urbanization. Now, UN Habitat provides a platform for global partners, actors, and networks. And we have a multilateral and interdisciplinary approach to sustainable urban development. Additionally, we work specifically at the local level, local authorities, to strengthen the capacity of governments, both national and local, and communities. Now, Habitat 2, that created our mandate, 96, it's a long time ago. The world has changed, new challenges, new opportunities. And therefore, the General Assembly at the meeting last year in New York decided to initiate a new conference to further define how the UN should work with cities, urbanization, and environment issues. They decided that this conference should be held 20 years after the Istanbul 96 conference. So we are now looking forward to a Habitat 3 conference, 2016. Now this is a UN conference, so it means that the whole UN system will participate. All the member states of the world will meet, and this is an opportunity for all of us, for all of you, to secure that the issues that are important to you, that you feel is the base for a sustainable urbanization, that these issues will be on the table for that conference. There's going to be an intensive preparatory process because all UN conferences have intensive preparatory processes. And there is your opportunity because you can enter into those processes as individuals, as institutions, as organizations, or as countries. UN Habitat's vision is to contribute to livable, productive, and inclusive cities. Now, many countries in the world are pretty inexperienced of urbanization. They have no or very limited legal framework. Maybe they have no or very weak institutions. They have no or very limited professional staff. Some countries are suffering tremendously from climate change, from new energy realities, financial crisis are affecting local governments. And they are battling in this high-speed urbanization which is ongoing. So what we do in UN Habitat is that we provide coordinated global approach through which urban players all around the world can access up-to-date information, can interact with each other, can, unlike very many other networks in the world, we are multi-sectorial. Because cities are multi-sectorial. And you know that most people are educated single sector. So already from the start of your professional life, you look at one thing. But a city's work has to look at many things. Now, cities is the home of prosperity. Cities are where human beings find satisfaction of basic needs. Access to essential public goods. No, it's just a backdrop, because it's so boring to look at this, so I thought that picture could be nice. There is a need to conceptualize a robust notion of development. And I think that it's very important that we start to look on cities beyond economic growth. Prosperity has to involve also other components. Vital dimensions, quality of life, adequate infrastructure, equity, environmental sustainability. And of course, it's in every city's interest to benefit the majority rather than a few. Now, looking at the city from all these perspectives, how do you actually measure the city? What are the essentials conditions, and what are we going to do with them in order to make it work? And I think that very many of us can agree that it's actually the things that can be measured that gets done. At the World Urban Forum that were held in Naples last year, Human Habitat launched an index which is called City Prosperity Index. It's a 5-sector index, and we will, together with partner cities all over the world, we will implement the use of this index. And the data that this index will produce, that will be part of the preparatory work for this Habitat 3 conference. Meaning that we will be able to come to this conference with statistical data on very many cities from all over the world and put these figures on the table for the decision makers. There might be cities here in Italy that would like to participate. Now, this 5-sector are the one is about the prosperous city and the economic growth. The other sector that we are looking into is the infrastructure, physical assets and amenities, water, sanitation, power supply, and also IT as it is today. Third is social services, education, health, recreation, safety and security. Fourthly, that the prosperity of a city is in some different ways shared. Trying to avoid poverty and inequalities, because we need equitable and inclusive cities. And fifthly, the environmental issues we have to be